practices Thursday evening. So you're right, a lot of laps.
Well, see, the guys didn't know they're going to have that Thursday practice. That was added. And so they run a lot of laps here because the track was so different.
Same layout, but brand new pavement. Much smoother surface at Darlington than we've seen before.
And the pace is much quicker. I mean, in the past here, we'd slow down 3 or 4 seconds in a run. And here we're only dropping off maybe a second.
Now, Kurt Busch in the 2 who did fuel only, Denny Hamlin in the 11, they just drove by Jimmy Johnson. So the 48 car is definitely starting to slide backwards.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried about Larry, but staying out that last time, I'm not sure that was a good move.
The good thing is, though, right now, our top 5, they are cars that stayed out. Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, Earnhardt Jr., Blaney, and Edwards. And we're about 25 laps away from what could possibly be these guys' last pit stop.
So the prophecy earlier of Greg Biffle's spotter goes unfulfilled when he told Biffle, let Kyle Busch go. He won't be there at the end. Well, Biffle is in the garage, and Kyle Busch is leading.
I'd have to tip my hat to Kyle Busch tonight again if he can survive this joint. The way he drives, as aggressive as he is, and the way this racetrack is, if he can come out here tonight with a win or a top 2 or 3 finish, that's a great job after going to the rear of the field.
Well, right now, Busch and Carl Edwards and Kurt Busch are the quickest cars on the racetrack last time by.
And what Darrell's talking about, Kyle Busch, who had led a lot of this race about 130 laps ago, had a lug nut loose on one of his wheels under caution. NASCAR brought him back in. They had to put the lug nut on there. It was missing. Had to start back in 2030. It took him about 120 laps, but he's back in the lead now.
And Krista told us that team had lug nut issues on both rear tires this evening. The 2 prior times, the tire changer had got another lug nut on and got it tightened before the car pulled away. 3rd time they didn't.
And, you know, we continue to hear all these lug nut issues as Jimmy Johnson continues to slide backwards. David Reagan in the 6 car just goes by him. Truex Jr. in the 1 car is now pulling up on the back bumper. But I think the big thing we never make note of enough is these guys are trying to change 4 tires and dump 18.5 gallons of Sunoco race fuel in about 12, 13 seconds. And there's the caution, debris on the backstretch.
That debris could have been A.J. Allmendinger. He comes down here with most of the right side askew on his
he's got
Toyota.
Look like a right rear tire down maybe.
There's A.J. Did a good job qualifying for this race and was a lap down, running in 24th.
Now we've got 19 cars on the lead lap. It's been about 30 laps since that last caution. I think this will put everyone even again. They will come to pit road for 4 tires, fuel, and adjustments. Still, you can't make it to the end. We still would have a 1-stop race.
Casey Kane moves back onto the lead lap. He gets the free pass.
And the plot thickens.
His 6th caution of the night. Kyle Busch has now led over 1,200 laps in NASCAR's National Touring Series, Sprint Cup, Nationwide, and Craftsman Truck.
Unbelievable. That's all I can say.
And you know, he missed the truck race at Kansas, but he'll be back in the truck Friday night at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Of course, a truck race like the All-Star race, both those races will be aired on Speed.
And I wonder, during this green run, did he get up and catch and pass Jeff Gordon, or did Jeff see him coming, let him go?
I tell you, we're just not quite in Jeff Gordon's window yet.
I think you're right.
That's my take.
I think we got to get to about 50 to go.
I believe so. I think he's going to let that boy see. Let's see if that boy can beat himself before I have to try to beat him.
Perhaps the wild card here is Dave Blaney in the 22, looking for his first ever Sprint Cup win.
I don't think we've heard the last of that Mountain Dew car either.
And a good night for Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, and David Reagan. Pit stops. Krista.
Kyle Busch did not pit back on lap 249. This time he said he needs some help turning. They're going to fix that with a wedge adjustment. He said he's not bad about a 2, but let's fix it. Steve?
Krista, Carl Edwards didn't pit on the last stop either, but he does now. He's going to get 4 tires. He said to Bob Osborne, I'm just a little tight. Nick.
Dave Blaney, the underdog, lost 5 positions the last time he hit pit road. The crew determined that's not going to happen again. He's going to try the wrench in the back window. Matt.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. chasing his first Darlington wins. The car's good at 3 and 4, but he needs it to turn better off of turns 1 and 2. They're close. Meanwhile, Gordon's service already complete. He says his car is both pushing and loose, but it's the best it has been all night. Air pressure adjustment for the 2024.
I would be willing to bet you see all those spots at the 07 Clint Boyer. Looks like to me Gil Martin rode the dice. 2 tires on that 07.
Saw a lot of brake dust out of the right front of that 18 car. Ooh, that looked like a lot of dust for here.
We'll update the Kyle Busch brake situation when we come back.
Fred Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Hanes. Look who we've got our Hanes on now. By non-drowsy Claritin Allergy Products. By the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. And by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Ready for the restart in Darlington. Here's Kyle Busch's pit stop. Watch when the right front comes off. Look at all the brake dust even before that wheel comes off.
Still, there's a bunch up in the wheel itself. That's like short track.
That's
Martinsville
exactly
kind
what
of
you'd
brake
see
dust.
at Martinsville or Richmond.
And a big conference in Kyle Busch's pits. There's the coach, Joe Gibbs, in the white shirt. And Krista, because they're having lug nut issues again.
And still, Mike, yep, there's the coach huddling up his team, talking about the issue. It's been a lug nut issue, specifically a glue issue all night. They're just not sticking to the wheels. At least 5 have fallen off. They've caught them most of the time.
Ready to go green. Jeff Gordon leading Kyle Busch, then Dale Jr., Carl Edwards, and David Reagan. Green flag at Darlington, 83 laps to go.
And just to follow up on what Krista's talking about, the hold the glue on these wheels with like a weather strip adhesive. And I do think that teams continue to play with something that they may think is a little bit better than just that yellow weather strip adhesive you buy at a hardware store.
That yellow stuff can get in the threads, and it can kind of gald up the lug nut sometimes. So they might be trying some different stuff. What do you got, Jeff?
Daryl, I actually got the lug nut glue you're talking about. This is what a lot of the teams are using. It's called the Norton glue, and you can see what we're talking about. It's very, very kind of rubbery, you might say. What the guys do, they come in, they will actually put it on the lug nut like so, all the way around. This is what holds this lug nut in place. And if it doesn't bond properly, again, it'll fall off. And when it does, this $1.25 lug nut can cost you an awful lot. But a lot of times you can get a bad batch of glue. Not necessarily that that's the case, but a lot of times that's one place you got to look at real quick.
I tell you what you better look at real quick is that 24 car. Boy. Jeff Gordon sliding backwards.
What did they do?
Restarted. He had the lead. Now he's falling all the way back to 4th, about to fall in the clutches of David Reagan in the 6th.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's got a good car on a long run, I guess, because this thing isn't doing anything on this restart.
Well, Kyle Busch is now the leader. And we're told they've tried several different... Oh, car in the wall.
6.
Bounced right off. David Reagan keeps going, but loses speed down the front straightaway. I said Kyle Busch's team has tried several different adhesives. In that huddle, I saw Jay Berry, who owns Airborne Coatings. And so he's an expert in powder coating and adhesives and those kind of things. So it's a mystery down there in Kyle Busch's pit, but he is leading this race.
Now, when you look at the Tony Stewart, the 20 car, what's so important about him staying where he's at right now, remember, he was involved in that crash on lap 2. Right now, if he gets a caution, this would put him only 1 lap down. So it's important that that 20 car stays in front of that leader.
I think when you think of the first lap of the race, he's in the wall. Big time.
Hey, speaking in the wall, our leader just got in the wall hard off turn 2, Kyle Busch in the 18.
And we're right back where we were last Saturday night with Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. battling for the lead.
See, that's the thing about this car, though. These guys have already figured out. See, this pop loose, I guess is what he's saying.
Hit your mark, Steve.
They've all figured out you don't have to slow down. Hit the wall, keep gassing it up. Ooh, that is huge. Oh, no. Killed that thing.
And you saw Jeff earlier show us a wheel that had chunks of the concrete from the wall wedged between the wheel and the bead of the tire. That's not good for balance. pressure or other things.
That's unbelievable that you can climb the wall like that with a car and it'll keep on running as good as he seems to be running.
You know, I know we've got Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. battling each other for the lead, but the guy we better watch is that 99 car, Carl Edwards. He just ran his fastest lap of the race. He's sitting back there in third. Remember, Carl Edwards started this race in 36th position.
And Carl did such a cool thing here a couple of weeks ago. He flew his plane down to Spartanburg, picked up David Pearson, who's won more races here than anybody. Flew David here to Darlington, to the racetrack. Leonard Wood was waiting, and the 21 Mercury that Pearson won a lot of those races in was right here. Pearson hopped into the Mercury. Carl hopped into his Roush Fenway Ford. They ran a bunch of laps and traded notes. So when you got the Silver Fox in your corner, that's a pretty good thing to have here at Darlington.
Yes, it is. But right now, he's about a 10th of a lap faster than Dale Earnhardt Jr. sitting in second, who we're riding with right now, as we've got 75 laps to go.
I've been watching race cars my whole life. I've just never seen them climb the wall the way they do, knock the wall down the way they do, and never slow down.
Darrell, folks have asked why we don't run alloy wheels in NASCAR. That hit that you just saw that car take into the wall, an alloy wheel would have exploded. A steel wheel maybe gets bent a little bit, but it still retains that tire on the bead, and you keep on going.
You can believe everything that's been done to these race cars for 50 years is all about endurance. We run 500 miles, and we hit the wall, obviously. You got to have someone there that'll take a licking and keep on ticking.
And endurance is this place's middle name.
Now, that right there is quite a battle back there for about 12th between Burton, the 31, Martin, the 8, McMurray, the 26, and Quapple, the 28.
Kyle Busch holding off Dale Earnhardt Jr. 9/10 of a second is Busch's lead. 74 laps to go.
NASCAR and Fox in Darlington, 67 laps to go. They've been racing here since 1950. 23-year-old Kyle Busch scraping the wall once again, trying to be the youngest winner in the history of this track. Our Sprint Monster moment. After Saturday night, he was booed during driver introductions, but Kyle quickly taking the lead early from Dale Earnhardt Jr. We got a wreck with 66 to go.
See the 11 car right there. Denny Hamlin goes around. Caution is on the speedway.
Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Hey, what happened down there was that one car, the 1 and the 11 got together and took the 11 out, or spun the 11 around. I think it hurt the 1 more than it did the 11, although it hurt them both, I think.
They were battling for 7th position.
Just got into him right there. I'm not sure what that was all about. One car just kind of ran over the 11.
David Gilliland, nice evasive maneuver. Boy, Hamlin had been having a good run, and so had Truex to that point.
I think it actually hurt the one car more.
A lot more than the 11.
Yeah, I think the 11 is actually, front tires are locked up and the rear tires are smoking.
Caution's a big break for Casey Kane, who stays on the lead lap, and I believe David Gilliland will get the free pass. This is the 8th caution flag of the night. And it comes out, Larry, with 65 laps to go.
It's just outside of that pit window, but I still think we have to see these guys come to pit road to possibly get their last set of tires and fill that thing up with fuel and see where the race pace goes and see if you can make it to the end.
Smoke got a lap back.
So now he'll be 1 lap down.
And that's a big deal because you can be running 20th with cars that are 1 or 21st.